Hey, hi everyone, today we are meeting for beta test on the game It's a Wonderful World on Windows. The beta was released on August 3, 2020. The board game was released in late 2019. Publisher La Boîte de Jeux and Origames. You can find links in comments. The author Frédéric Guérard, the artist Anthony Wolf. So we are in the interlude games which hosts the game in beta. We must first go through Discord to find players. What I just did here, Bruce just joined us, so we immediately start the game. So I will play the Aztec Empire and Bruce the Republic of Europe. First thing, I will choose the recycling plant while I put it in the draft zone. It's a score point game which takes place in 4 rounds, each round being broken down into 3 phases. A draft phase that we are doing, a phase of planning, and a production one. Let's look in a card, we find the cost, for example here 2 cubes to produce the factory of recycling, the number of copies of the card in the type card set, this is a factory type card. It will bring us 2 grey resources, but if we recycle the card, we will immediately get a grey cube. So, second round of draft, well, I will decide to put the cities of gold into production. I like a lot this card. It costs a lot of blue cubes, but it will produce 3 financial cubes. Then Bruce chose the national monuments very well. So we had to do blue too, and what would be good is to also make grey. The secret society does not produce nothing. On the other hand, it will add a multiplier on one of the financial tokens. It's very strong at the end of the game. The underground city is also very good. The nuclear power station is also a very good card. There are a lot of good cards in this draft phase. I will choose the secret society that I will keep for later. That would be good is to have grey cards. It will be nice. That would allow me to build the recycling plant. We will try to make the submarine, which is not bad, which goes bring us a military token here in our stock, and all the turns 2 blue resources. So we will try to do the submarine. The nuclear power station is also very strong, since it will produce 3 black cubes each turn. It's very important to produce vehicles to make explorations. There will go look for blue recycling cubes. We need them, so I'll take the Zeppelin. When players have 7 cards in draft phase, we stop and we'll go to phase 2. The Underwater City is a card I really appreciate, is that it generates 3 more advanced resources and it is not that expensive, so we'll try to make it later. So here we go, we have made our 7 card choices, so we move to planning phase. So here in the construction area we will put the card that we want to produce. You have to know that every turn we will automatically generate 2 grey cubes, 1 black cube and a green one. Area which is indicated at the top right. Once I have made my recycling factory, I will add 2 more grey cubes. We'll try to make the gold cities and sure try to make nuclear power plants too. Then the Zeppelin suddenly not necessary at first. Put it in the recycling zone, it will give us a blue cube that will be able to put on your cities of gold. The underwater city, I like it a lot, we will try to make it and the submarine will need it. Then suddenly the secret society is what we are going to need it or not. Whatever, the multiplier is still very strong. I don't know, when in doubt we are going there, put in construction, we will see later. So we have placed the setup, so we validate and move on to the phase 3, to the production phase. So in production phase I generate 2 grey cubes that I put on the recycling plant. So now I produce 4 grey cubes, you can see it on the top right. So we go to black, so we produce 1 black cube. We could put here, for example, on underwater city, then we validate. So green, we all produce one green cube, so I put on the nuclear power plant, validate. Well, nobody produced yellow cube, so we validate. And the same for the blue, so we validate. Let's start round number 2. So the card goes up here, and like in turn 1, we need to choose 7 cards in a new draft phase. My objective is to fill the nuclear plants right away with my grey cubes to be able to generate 3 more black cubes. With my 4 cubes, I will be able to finish a prediction of the submarine and the underwater city. Here we have a multiplayer. The problem is that the card needs a lot of green cubes and I only produce 1. I don't know what to do, so come on, we'll try to make, let's choose the military base. So there are a lot of cards which are interesting, in particular this one, since it's towards bringing us an additional military coefficient plus a green cube, which is rather good. We have the giant barrage. The army is looking for an excellent card that generates 4 black cubes every turn. It's huge. Anyway, we'll choose Roswell. We have cards which are nice, but which require green, and the problem is that I produce few green. There I make 1, potentially 2, potentially 3. Finally, it looks not so bad, in fact, and well, come on, let's try to tempt the Super Soldier. Well, the Mega Bomb, not so bad. The Solomon Mine does not necessarily have utility. The Templar Treasure is always a good card. The Airborne Laboratory is nice, and the Giant Barrage Dam is still very envious. Come on, we'll try to make it. Damn, there are a lot of wind turbines that are used to nothing suddenly, so I'll try the research center by elimination. Then it's interesting because he left me Airborne Laboratory. Rather, well, blue a priori, I will therefore generate 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes, which is not huge. Anyway, 4 blues, so I have to look for a card like this. Whoa, it's a joke! We take a wind turbine. So here we are at the end of the draft of round 2. We'll move on the planning stage. At any time we can go click on the area of our opponents, Bruce for example here, so we have access to the screen area of this map, which is the Republic of Europa. We see that he wants to make all that, and at this time in the previous round he launched the production of all that. At this time we are waiting for Bruce to choose his card. At the production phase, we always start with grey, then black, green, yellow, then blue. If we have supremacy, that is to say we produce the more, we gain 1 token. Supremacy in grey give a financial token, in black give a military, green you choose, financial give a financial, and exploration give a military. Now we are looking at the cards we want to make. Roswell is okay, and the giant barrage will be great. Then we also choose the military base. We'll produce the airborne laboratory later. The wind turbine is not necessary, so we'll recycle it. Super Soldier, despite everything, with the green we are going to make, why not? Roswell, yes, I want it. And the research center, finally, we recycled. So in recycling we got a black, another green cube. And we put the green cube in the underwater city and we validate. Bruce also does his planning. We'll see what he does. So here's the temple treasure I decide to put in the manufacturing area. He comes back, he cancels the time travel, he says to himself, yes, I'm making it. And he recycles the Templar treasure. And he puts his yellow cube on the World Congress. Our turn, so we are not going to supremacy, we have 2 equal person gets a token, so we have 4 grey cubes. As we have seen previously, we will put them on our nuclear power plants. That will generate no longer 1 but 4 black cubes, so we validate. Bruce makes 3 black cubes, we are in front with 4, so we get a military token. With the 4 blacks cube without delay, we are make our airborne laboratory and start, for example, the submarines. And we validate. Green, we will start our super soldier, we validate. Yellow, I don't do it, we validate. And blue only makes 1, put on the cities of gold, and so we go turn number 3. Then the Fountain of Youth, which is an excellent card since we have not only get the military multiplier, but also 3 crystallium cubes, so this one I automatically put it in the draft zone. Then we will need to make these famous cities of gold, which will be good is to manufacture them immediately to have yellow. For example, make the underwater city, also the giant barrage for later. We'll need blue. On the other hand, we don't make many blue cubes. So here, we will choose blue recycle cards. The Zeppelin is a card like that. The Flying Saucer Squadron is an excellent card. It will bring me 3 blue cubes. It's huge. I'll need it. To finish our cities of gold, let's take a blue card to recycle it. We are going to need grey, and we don't make grey that much, so I choose the tank division. The objective will be to make the super soldier on the Fountain of Youth. For that we'll have to have a lot of blue, and there we are tight. That we are at the round 3. Judges for now I closed only 1 blue, that's going to be that for me seems very complicated. Even if I can do the underwater city, the submarine or the source squadron, it appears even quite complicated from everything made it. We'll see. Well, there we need grey, although we don't have much choice. We need grey resource cards, since we manufacture that 4, it's still not efficient. So here we choose the recycling plant to have grey. Okay, we will of course try to make our Fountain of Youth and your flying saucers. As for the tank division, finally, it costs a lot of black, but since we will normally produce a lot of black cube, we can try to make them. Then we get 1 grey and 2 blue cubes, and we put the blue on the cities of gold, that automatically add 3 yellow cubes, and for the grey cube, it can be placed on a submarine, for example, and we validate. Come on, we are going to start with the submarine, and then we'll start to manufacture the giant barrage and the tank division. And we validate. Well, black I get 4 cubes, so this time I finish 1 submarine. And I also produce a tank division. With the green cubes we start our saucer squadron and we validate. We get the supremacy bonus in financial since we have 3 and guest 1, so I will first finish the underwater city here, and then the giant barrage, and we validate. This time in blue it's not so bad, I have 6 cubes, so I can already well advance. We'll start by doing the Fountain of Youth. 5 and 6 cube and we validate. So let's start the final turn, turn 4. The Giant Tower seems to me an interesting card that gives me 10 points. It needs grey and yellow cubes. It's the most interesting card here. Well, I choose this card to recycle it to finish the giant barrage. In the same way, I choose the source gradient to discard it to start filling my super solder. Once again, I choose this card to discard it later to gain a green cube. Looking at Bruce. Okay. I like a lot this card. The problem is that it requires a lot of yellow and I do not or very little. Anyway, pass this card is much better finally in start of the game. Rather, this one gives us a resource I do not need. This one breaks the token that I would like to have. Well, I finally choose this one, perhaps for recycle and gain a grey cubes, or produce it, we'll see later. Well, let's try Animorphous here. And now, let's take grey resources. And so, let's go for the planning phase of turn 4. So, the drilling machine is recycled. For the non-technology and the Scradion, I do the same. Well, the Blackbird treasure and the military base go to recycle, and I will try to produce the animals and the giant tower. So I have 2 yellow cubes, one here and there. I just finished my giant dam, and then 2 green cubes. And a grey cube that we can put on the tank division. And let's go good. Go take a look at Bruce's map. So Bruce has to do all this, therefore by managing all its resources. And let's go for the prediction of the final turn. So there in grey, he beats me largely, so I have 4 cubes, and well, I'm going to start doing my giant tower. And why not do the military base? We validate. Then, there for the black I have the lead, so here I go do my tank division. This also Scradion. And try to make the animals. And the military base is therefore the excess black cube is put on the Empire card, we validate. We go green. For the greens I have some free, so I'm going to come and finish my super solder. 2. Okay, then we validate. The yellows I have 3, but it's enough to come complete my giant tower. The giant tower is a special card since it requires more light resources, it needs a financial token. So I take financial and I put it here and I create my giant tower. On blue I have 10 cubes, so I have the lead. So here we will come and finish our Fountain of Youth and collect 3 crystallium cubes, which also allowed us to make other cards. And we finish Roswell too. So I have 3 crystallium cubes. With that I will finish the animals. That will give us a token. So here I have a multiplier of 3, which actually makes 4, since you have to know that basically we have a multiplier of 1, which makes 3 plus 1, 4. Which means that each military token counts 4 points, so I'd better get the maximum, so the military base give me back 1 more, and we finish with the calculation of scores. Well, I win the game with 67 points. For the score it was really simple. I scored only 2 items. I scored the first is of course the tokens. For the military 3 plus 1, so the coefficient is 4, multiplied by the number of 12, so we get a total of 48 points, plus the gross points. Here for the gross points we will look at the points without multiplier. So 2 plus 10 plus 1 plus 3 plus 3 again give 19. 19 plus 48 equals 67 points. Looking at Bruce, We have multiplier of 7 for the yellow cards, 4 cards at 7 points equal 28 points. The financial and the military token have the normal coefficient of 1, therefore 6 multiply 1 plus 2 multiply 1 equal 8. Finally, gross points, so we have 1, 2, 3 plus 3 equals 6, so 6 gross points for a total of 42 points. This video is over, I hope you enjoyed. Subscribing to the channel, you will enter the total board games, fighting, unboxing, speed painting tutorials and gamings. See you soon, have a good play, have a good game, and goodbye!